McMaster University to create a faculty of engineering. I believe it happened in February of that year that it was passed by the Board of Governors and the Faculty of Engineering was formed. It's been an exciting journey for many of us within the faculty, and I hope for the undergraduate students and graduate students who are here tonight, it's the beginning of an exciting journey for you. I will point out that some 35 years ago, there was another big idea. How many people here have heard of Donna Strickland? So Donna had a big idea about how to make lasers that were more powerful than any laser had ever been created before. Left here with a degree in engineering physics, went to the University of Rochester, which was the leading laser laboratory in the world at that time, and saw her dream come true some 4 years later. So that's been a spectacular success, but it's not totally surprising. When we look at our alumni, we see many spectacular successes, and I'm sure from the students who are in the room, we're going to see even more in the future. Okay, so what are we playing for? What we're playing for is spots in the Thursday competition, which will be up against a weaker group known as faculty or professors. So this is your tough, this is the tough round. I think Thursday night will be a breeze for most of you guys. So in recognition of our 60th anniversary, we're encouraging undergraduates, graduates, and faculty members to generate and submit big ideas that demonstrate a commitment to building a brighter world through lasting collaboration and creativity, at which point I'm supposed to say, cue the video. Special thanks to the star of video, Toby Derard, who will be one of the competitors on Thursday night. Hopefully he does better than that. Okay, so the first event that's up is the graduate competition, which is a formal 3-minute thesis competition. What does that mean? It means that there are 3 minutes. How many minutes are there? 3. Okay, it didn't sound very confident. Okay, how many minutes are there? 3. All right. Who decides when 3 minutes are up? Yavin, would you please stand up? He's very tall and forbidding. There you go. Can you demonstrate for them what the 3 minutes looks like? Yavin has hand gestures to help you. He's very talented. What will you do when there's 2 minutes left?
That means 1 minute left. This means 30 seconds left.
All right, so we're all good with that. Everybody's welcome to, if you're upset with Yavin afterwards, then just see him outside. I'd like to thank, in particular, judges who so generously volunteered their time. For the graduate competition, we have, not in the order that they're sitting in, so I'm going to ask if you could just stand up slightly as I mention your name. Monica Yazdanian, who's the director of the Forge. Suvajit Ghosh, managing director of the Computing Infrastructure Research Center. Nipa Patel, lead test engineer Etratech, Sarah Lau, Manager, Strategic Communications, McMaster University, and Sanjay Sagar, Manager, Steelmaking Technology, Global, ArcelorMittal Dofasco.
You're close, it's Chris Brown. Sanjay's gonna do 7 o'clock.
Okay, that's not on me.
It's okay, you're within 3 minutes on that.
So I'd just like to mention that ArcelorMittal Dofasco is our employer of the week this week, and they've been having a number of activities organized through the Engineering Co-op and Career Services and a presence in our lobby. So please visit if you get the chance. Actually, I would also mention, I just recently heard some of the really exciting research that ArcelorMittal is looking at, which could really transform in a major way the amount of carbon dioxide that's produced during steelmaking. It's very, very exciting. At this point, I want to say that in addition to our assistant with the Forge, we also have a great partnership with Health Sciences and the DeGroote School of Business, and with a focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. And so there's booths here according to, let's see if I can get it right. It's the MGDIIH. Did I do okay? Fantastic. And the Forge has a setup here. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Steve Rymack, who's Associate Dean for Graduate Studies, who will be emceeing this part of the competition. Yes, I said his last name wrong. I don't really care.
Thank you very much. Thank you, John Presley. I really appreciate that introduction. So my name is Steve Railovich. I'm the Associate Dean of Grad Studies, and I am thrilled to be here today. I'm mostly thrilled that our grad students have this opportunity. This is the first annual, I hope, Faculty of Engineering 3-minute thesis competition. This is great. So you're in an inaugural bunch. You're in a rarefied group of people. So congratulations for being here, for being nominated by your programs. We have members here from every department and every program that the Faculty of Engineering provides. The event is to give these students a chance to present, and it's also a nice event to allow us to meet each other and to have more cohesion between our programs. It is a 3-minute thesis program. We're tight on time, so I'm going to cut my comments to a minimum. I wanted to remind you that there are, how many minutes were there, John? 3. There are 3 minutes, so please keep that in mind. If you go over 3 minutes, you will be disqualified from the competition. So without further ado, I would ask for the first candidate to present themselves and to have the presentation started. Our first speaker is Yukon.
Many people love shopping online, but when people shopping online, search on Amazon or eBay, they always pop out lots of products which look similar or duplicates. This issue is called data duplication. Data duplication occurs when one real-world item has 2 or more different representations, especially when the data comes from different sources. And it causes 2 problems. First, it takes very expensive for the company to maintain their product inventories. Second, it takes time for the customer to find out the product they really want. So, how do you solve this problem? Deduplication. If you just look at the image on the top, you may think, it's not very hard. We can identify the repeat ABCD, remove them, done, mission complete. But in practice, especially when you have millions of products, it's not an easy task. For example, there are 2 different representations, for example, Amazon database. As human, we can easily tell they are talking about the same product. But can we teach a computer to do this for us? That's where I come into play. I'm Yu Huang, a computer science PhD student. I break the sentence into words first, because to identify whether 2 sentences are duplicates, you need to identify whether 2 words are duplicates. For example, you want to know whether the disk goes to hard disk or whether the PC goes to the desktop. So I use a machine learning techniques to catch the words which have similar meanings. Like, I want to identify PC and desktop. Even they look different, but actually they are talking about the same thing. Same as RAM and memory, different, but actually the same thing. So the intuition behind this idea is that if the two words they have a similar context, or with either nearby words are similar, they should have probably similar meaning as well. For example, desktop and PC, they should have a similar context than desktop and BlueBerry. So I use a big data to train our model and use this model to identify duplicates through millions of records without human effort. So next time when you're shopping online, you can easily find out your products you want. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Nicola Muslin.
Burns. We've all felt that heat radiating from a burn wound. Yes, I admit it, I've forgotten oven mitts when pulling cookies out of the oven, dealing with bubbles on my fingers for the next few weeks. But they completely healed. Isn't skin incredible? It's living. It grows. Some people aren't so lucky. Some burns are too deep, leaving behind an extensive scar. What if we could prevent these scars from forming in the first place? Good evening, I'm Nicola Muslin. I'm here from chemical engineering to share my research on a biomaterial to prevent burn wound scars. Think of a sponge. Yes, a sponge. This sponge is very similar to the highly porous, interconnected material I work with. Using chemical linkages, I stabilize this sponge-like structure so it doesn't break apart like a sugar cube in water. Once stabilized, this material swells in water up to 200 times its original mass. That's significantly more than your average kitchen sponge. This swollen material is called a hydrogel. Wouldn't a water-filled material feel nice and cool over your burn? Most people know ibuprofen, the active ingredient in Advil and Motrin. Ibuprofen is an anti-inflammatory drug. It relieves pain and prevents your body from overreacting to trauma. Since my material has such a large surface area, I can load a lot of ibuprofen into my gel. Why would I want to load an anti-inflammatory? You know that hardness that forms under your skin as it heals? Your skin can't quite stretch as much as usual? The ibuprofen should prevent that hardness from forming. It has an immediate added benefit: pain relief. I've tested my materials. I found that my ibuprofen-loaded hydrogels prevented scabs from forming, meaning the wounds were able to heal faster. Hopefully in the future, these materials can be used to prevent permanent scars in burn wound victims and help you and me get over our burns faster the next time we forget our oven mitts.
Our next speaker, yes, Melih Gali.
We are telepathic creatures, as Jan Chinap says in his fascinating book on auditory neuroscience. Think about what's going on right now. I'm channeling my ideas into your heads using a form of invisible vibrations. We are able to do this because we hear and we can understand what we hear. We know what happens to those invisible vibrations, as we call them sounds, in the ear. But what happens to them in the brain is still not totally understood. And that's the mystery I want to uncover. Hi everyone, my name is Billy. I'm a master's student working in auditory engineering laboratory. That guy over there is also me. I'm working on the representation of the speech in the brain area that I circled in red over there, where my nose is supposed to be. If you were able to take a deeper look inside of your head, you will find your brainstem. In here, our brain begins to extract useful information coming from different types of sources, like speech or music, or from annoying noise sources. Our brain is able to achieve this by using small computational units, what we call neurons. These neurons elevate different aspects of the sound, like where the sound is coming from. What is it? In my research, I use detailed neural models. By combining hundreds of them, I create these structures that can mimic the part of the brainstem that I showed in purple dots over there. But why am I working on this? If we create realistic models of brain, we can understand what's going on in there better. And if we have a better understanding of the brain, we can create even better sophisticated models. Since I'm a telepath, I know what's going on in your mind right now. Where can we use this thing? Okay, you are driving to go to your favorite restaurant, and you ask Siri to give you direction because you don't want to type while you are driving, but it keeps trying to take you to some other place. It's not like Siri is having a bad day, or it doesn't want to take you there. It simply couldn't understand you right then. These days, machines have microphones as their ears, and microchips as their brain. But they are lacking in their algorithm. Those crucial processes are brainstem implements. With my contribution, by giving them a small part of our brain, we can make them hear like us, as successful and as robust as humans do. Who knows, maybe one day they will be even better telepaths than we are. Thank you.
Next up, Michael Tucker.
No matter what field they work in, every engineer knows our most important job is protecting public safety. I'm Michael Tucker, and my research is all about safety at nuclear power plants. For decades, nuclear power has relied on computer simulations for safety analysis. The catastrophic nature of nuclear accidents means that doing actual experiments at large power plants is simply not possible. Instead, we use simulations, like the one on my slide, to tell us what the reactor will do in the unlikely event of an accident. The problem with computer simulations is they're only as good as the input we give them. If our input data is wrong, our simulation will be wrong as well. These simulations are used to set the safe operating conditions for each power plant. So if our simulations are wrong or uncertain, so are our safety limits. With thousands and thousands of different inputs to every simulation, it's extremely difficult to make sure that all of them are exactly correct. In the past, engineers dealt with this in the most conservative way possible. They ran the simulation by assuming that every input was at its worst possible value. Although this gives us a good idea of what the worst case scenario is, it turns out it doesn't predict what the reactor will actually do very well at all. If we want to know what will actually happen during an accident, we need to use realistic inputs to our simulations, and that's where my research comes in. My work is all about figuring out what the most realistic value for each input to these simulations are. Using that, I can create better simulations of nuclear reactors, which give me a much more realistic idea of how the plant will behave, even in the worst case scenarios. I can use these better simulations to create better safety limits for each plant, and to better analyze potential accidents. Now you may be wondering, if the old method guarantees the reactors are safe, why would we bother changing it? There are two reasons. First, the better we understand how the reactor will respond to an accident, the better we can design our safety systems to protect it. Second, with better simulations, we could produce more power at each plant without compromising reactor safety. That will drive the cost of power down, especially in Ontario, where 60% of our electricity comes from nuclear reactors. I'm hopeful that my research will start saving you money in the next few years. Thank you.
Next speaker, Larissa Kogut.
Broken bones. Most of you, at least once in your life, will experience broken bones. For example, a P-lone fracture. A P-lone fracture occurs from a high energy impact to the ankle. This high energy impact may be a result from a car accident or falling from heights. Depending on the position of the ankle at the time of injury, different fracture patterns may result. P-lone fractures are debilitating, often resulting in chronic pain and immobility, even after healing. These difficulties are due to the bone fragments not healing in the right place or not healing at all, causing osteoarthritis. To treat P-lone fractures, surgeons use fixation plates to secure the bone fragments. These plates can be placed on either side of the ankle joint. However, which plate a surgeon should choose to treat the ankle fracture is not well understood. My name is Marissa Cohen, and my goal is to compare the effectiveness of 2 fracture patterns and 2 plates. To compare plates, we're using 12 pairs of cadavers. Half of the cadavers will receive 1 fracture pattern, and the other half another. The cadavers will then be randomly treated with one of the plates. To determine which plate performs better, each cadaver will be subjected to loading conditions similar to walking. This will allow us to determine which plate provides better support for the bone fragments to heal. During loading, we are tracking the displacement of these bone fragments. Using emerging technologies, this displacement is important because too much or too little motion will not allow the bone fragments to join back together properly. We hope that 1 plate will show superior results for 1 fracture pattern, meaning 1 plate will provide the appropriate amount of support and amount of motion for the bone fragments to join back together. Knowing this, we can guide surgeons when treating broken bones. So when you do break bones, in whatever way, we can be more certain about providing conditions for proper bone healing, getting you back on your feet again. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Maurizio Garza.
The air we breathe. How often do you stop to think about the quality of the air you're breathing and the impact that this has on your life? Think about the following, if you may. We could go up to 3 whole weeks without eating any food, 3 days without water, but only 3 minutes without any air. Of course, every person's situation is different. This is just a reminder of something you already know. The air we breathe, the air around us, is extremely important. It's vital. But what about the quality of that air? Did you know that inside Toronto subway, for example, the concentration of air pollutants can be 10 times higher than on the outside? That smoke alone cost Canadians over $36 billion last year, and that in Canada, each year, air pollution is responsible for over 14,000 deaths. 14,000. But what is air pollution? Well, it basically refers to a combination of harmful pollutants and substances that are on the air all the time and are coming from cars, factories, but also from the plastic materials, fabrics, and pollutants all around us, all the time, even here right now. I do be the bearer of bad news, but one smell that people should really be concerned about is one that most people, including me, probably you, really seem to like, the new car smell. The nice smell comes from extremely high concentration of pollutants that are just leaching out of brand new plastics, adhesives, fabrics inside the cars. And sadly, this nice smell is responsible for things like premature death, premature birth, birth deformities, impaired learning, liver toxicity, and a number of other diseases. What makes the problem worse is that the particulates in these kind of gases are extremely small, very, very small, and difficult to filter by conventional methods. or off-the-shelf products like the ones we have in our homes or inside our houses. My name is Mauricio Garzón, and we're developing a system, a whole technology to purify heavily polluted air, not only inside your car, but virtually anywhere, by actually destroying these harmful particles and pollutants. We don't simply filter the air, we actually purify it, so you can breathe better, and of course the air will be clean out. So the next time that you get a brand new car, please remember to lower the windows and let it breathe. Thank you.
Next speaker, Geneva Smith.
Imagine, you are the most powerful warrior in the land, battle-scarred and grizzled. You have fought with dragons and wrestled with bears, climbed to the highest mountains, and delved into the deepest dungeons. One day, you're passing through a village where some children are playing. One girl, Dorothy, happens to notice you. She marches up to you, looks you dead in the eye, and says, "Papa says I'm too friendly with strangers, but you seem all right." "Child, have you no fear?" That would be correct. She's an emotionless game character. Hi, I'm Geneva, and I'm designing GLaDOS, a new system for simulating emotions in digital characters. I have named it GLaDOS after a beloved video game character. In analog games, like Dungeons and Dragons, all characters were played by humans, allowing greater story depth, social interaction, and experimental role-play. This has not been clearly transferred into the digital realm, where characters, like Dorothy, make seemingly bizarre decisions, like approaching your battle-hardened warrior. I am designing GLaDOS, a new system for simulating emotions in digital characters, which will allow them to react more believably to you, the players, and their environment. I am including in GLaDOS ways for you to customize their personality, beliefs, values, and goals. And GLaDOS is not limited to digital entertainment. GLaDOS can help with tasks like helping you prepare for your next job interview, enabling culture-based empathy training, and breaking language barriers in healthcare. The possibilities are as endless as your imagination. So then, the next time that you're passing through Dorothy's village, she might just stop and consider her fear before approaching your battle-hardened warrior. Thank you for listening, and happy adventuring!
Our next speaker is Vincent Wong. Neil.
Good evening. My name is Vincent Lund. I'm a PhD student in chemical engineering here at McMaster University. Vaccines are essential for global health. Every year, 2 to 3 million lives are saved because of vaccines. Here in Canada, we're very fortunate to have easy access to vaccines. I'm sure many of us, if not all of us, have been vaccinated at some point in our lives. But that's not the case for many people around the world. In fact, 19.5 million children under the age of 1 do not have access to basic life-saving vaccines. And 1.5 million lives are lost every year simply because they cannot get immunization. One of the greatest challenges for global immunization is the need for a refrigerated supply chain, or what we call a cold chain. Almost every vaccine in the market right now requires refrigeration. And without refrigeration, and they lose their efficacy and must be thrown out. And this presents a tremendous logistical problem because many places around the world do not have access to reliable electricity to maintain this cold chain. It's also a financial problem because maintaining the cold chain can cost up to 80% of the total cost of an immunization program. So for my PhD thesis, we want to develop a thermally stable vaccine that do not require refrigeration. And we did this by using two FDA-approved sugars. One is called trehalose, the other is called pullulan. And we mix these two sugars with the vaccine, and we dry the vaccine down into a water-soluble film. And we did this for two types of vaccines, one for HSV, another for influenza. And we store these vaccine films at 40 degrees Celsius for 3 months. Then we performed an in vivo experiment where we administered this vaccine to mice and then exposed the mice to a lethal dose of infection. And what we found is that even though the vaccine was stored at 40 degrees Celsius for 3 months, they were still able to protect the mice from infection. And this is excellent results because it shows that we can maintain the efficacy of the vaccine without the cold chain, even at elevated temperature. A brighter world should be a world where everyone has access to basic life-saving vaccines so that no one has to die from preventable diseases. And through our research, we're one step closer to making this brighter world a reality. Thank you.
Canadian dollars. So this picture shows the devastating impact of Quebec City floods, which happened in May 2017. These floods included loss of lives. Among these lives is the life of an old man who drowned in his car and a child who went missing. 4,000 Canadian people were forced to flee their homes as 800 houses were fully destroyed by the floods. So how can we make our cities survive these events, given the frequency and impacts of these events? So this is a very far-fetched goal, given the complex behavior of cities, which stems from the interconnectivity of the components, which are the infrastructure systems. This interconnectivity or interdependence can be shown in the event of a power outage, for example. In a power outage, power is not the only system affected. Actually, water distribution is affected. Transportation is affected through the unoperational subway systems and traffic lights. So, given this complexity, how can we make our cities adapt to these events? Actually, the only way is to make our cities resilient. Resilience can be expressed through the behavior of a stress ball. If you have a stress ball in your hand and you squeeze it, it takes the shape of your hand. Then when you leave it, it goes back to its original shape in no time. A resilient system or city will do exactly the same. It will go back to its functional state in no time after a disaster. So inspired by resilience and the fact that precaution is always better than cure, my research aims to quantify and optimize city resilience. I started with designing and building the city of Toronto by designing the interdependencies among power, water, and transportation in the city. I hope that through my research, one day I'll be able to make our world a safer place, because safety of people shall always be our highest law. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sam Peter.
Those blue solar panels have become ubiquitous in our everyday lives. See them on your way to work, see them around Mac, heck, you might even have one on your roof. The one place you're less likely to see them is somewhere like downtown Toronto. As we make our buildings taller and taller, the roof space where you might find solar panels is small compared to the size of the building. And that's a lot of wasted surface area. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you could make those windows fluoresce, then a portion of the sunlight hitting them can be converted into lower energy infrared light, which you can then trap and concentrate on the edge of the window. And if you put solar cells on those edges, well, now you've got electrical power. Now, this isn't a new concept. In fact, it forms the basis of the emerging field of building integrated photovoltaics, which relies heavily on the use of fluorescent plastics. My work aims to improve this concept by not using plastics. See, plastics tend to break down when exposed to UV light. So if your application is a window, well, it's kind of a terrible choice of material. Instead, we've developed a fluorescent nano ceramic. Tiny crystals, roughly 1,000 times smaller than the width of a human hair. Way smaller than what the eye can see, meaning the window remains transparent. And as a ceramic, it has the potential to be stable for decades. The use of infrared is also important in the design of the window because in terms of energy, it's too low to get reabsorbed by another tiny crystal on its journey to the edge of the window. And because it's outside the range of what the human eye can see, there's no color or tint in the final product. A key aesthetic, because the best designed windows are the ones that make us forget they're even there. My work aims to bring clean solar technologies to high demand areas that have been deemed too impractical. I hope I've made that as clear as my windows. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kevin DeFrance.
Before starting my PhD, I traveled to Europe. One day, strolling through Rome, I was super excited to see the Trevi Fountain. I turned a corner, and this monstrosity was blocking my view. Needless to say, it didn't make the cut for my Instagram. As an engineer, however, I realized that this construction scaffolding serves a critical purpose. Scaffolds help organize and transport building materials throughout a construction site, improving both the speed and quality of restoration. But can scaffolds be better? What if they were see-through? Now that's the picture I wanted. Hi, I'm Kevin DeFrance. I'm a PhD candidate in chemical engineering, and I design scaffolds. No, not for repairing fountains, but for repairing muscle. Let me explain. When you severely injure a muscle, the repair mechanism in your body just doesn't work in this condition. It needs help. It needs a scaffold. Medical scaffolds are degradable materials that help organize damaged tissue by mimicking the aligned structure of muscle. Traditionally, these scaffolds are surgically implanted at the site of an injury, and much like construction scaffolds, improve both the speed and quality of muscle growth. However, surgery is invasive and can lead to other complications. So, can medical scaffolds be better? My research says yes. I focus on designing scaffolds that can be injected through a needle directly to the site of a muscle injury. This means no more surgery, and that's exciting. My scaffolds are made of tiny, rod-shaped nanoparticles that can align inside a magnetic field. By injecting a mixture of polymers and these nanoparticles in the presence of a magnet, I can create a scaffold which solidifies to mimic that aligned structure of muscle. Importantly, my injectable scaffolds can organize and grow muscle in a way that's comparable to other scaffolds requiring surgical implantation. Now, although I can't promise see-through scaffolds at the Trevi Fountain, I hope that in the future, my research on injectable medical scaffolds can lead to profound advancements in the clinical treatment of muscle injuries. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Julia DeLand.
Have you ever been in a car crash? If so, and it was serious, odds are you've injured your foot. Since the implementation of airbags and seatbelts in vehicles, lower extremities are now the most frequent injury site in frontal collisions. To reduce the number of foot fractures and design suitable protection in vehicles, we need a better understanding of the biomechanics of foot fractures. You do not want to fracture your foot. The long-term implications are vast, often leading to osteoarthritis and chronic pain. Where you fracture your foot is also important. Toe fractures are much more manageable than heel bone fractures. Industry uses crash test dummies to evaluate vehicle safety. These dummies are equipped with strategically placed instrumentation to collect load data and collision scenarios. These data are then compared to injury tolerance thresholds developed in the lab on cadavers. But risk of injury to the lower leg is grouped and evaluated at the tibia, which is the big bone below your knee. Now that's because there aren't any loading metrics in the dummy foot that we use in industry right now. So we're not getting any data here. It's not ideal, because car manufacturers are assessing your risk of injury at the tibia and might be missing the risk of a foot fracture. Occupants also assume a wide variety of positions while driving, postures that are expected to get weirder with the onset of autonomous vehicles. And how your foot is positioned at the time of a collision might result in a different type of fracture. But our dummy foot has been proven to be relatively insensitive to postural changes. Also, not ideal. My name is Julia DeLange, and I investigate the biomechanics of foot fractures. I look at how injury tolerances might change when your foot is oriented in a vulnerable position. I take donated cadavers and fit them with this boot that was designed in our lab with sensors on the sole of the foot. I then impact them using a large linear impactor to simulate collision forces. I then compare these impacts to dummy impacts, also wearing the boot and in the same scenario. I then analyze the discrepancies between dummy feet and human feet. My aim is to discover the exact force of the sole of both feet required to create a fracture. And my end goal is to save your soul and ensure that your foot never sees any of those injury-inducing forces in your next collision. Thank you.
Next up, Andrew LeClaire.
So what is it about what is it about professors, doctors, and lawyers that has us called knowledgeable? Part of it is that from years of education, they have an extraordinary understanding of their domain. But so does a textbook, and we don't call that knowledgeable. What sets them apart is that they can learn. When we give these doctors or lawyers data, they are able to leverage their understanding of their domain to generate new facts, and these facts are what we call knowledge. Ultimately, this is what we want our computers to do. We want them to understand a domain, and we want them to be able to learn from it. So how do we get there? My name is Andrew LeClaire, and in my PhD, one of the major questions that drives my research is how can we characterize what knowledge is to a computer, and how can we then generate it? If we wanted a computer to understand medicine, we would want it to generate knowledge as if it was understanding it like every top doctor, health scientist, and nurse combined. But how do you tell a computer how to understand something? You can't lecture a computer like you do a student. We need a language that we both speak, and it happens to be math. In my research, we use specific types of math to build algebraic structures that formalizes what it means for a computer to understand something. With this, we can start to understand ourselves what knowledge means to the computer. But that's not all. With this algebraic structure and the specific properties and theorems that come with it, we are able to further characterize what knowledge means. We can distinguish what is the difference between inductive and deductive knowledge to a computer. We can even define a function that is measuring how much knowledge the computer can learn at discrete time steps. We are able to measure the knowledge that a computer is learning. We also say that this function has a fixed point. What this fixed point says is that with the way that the computer understands the domain and the data that it has been given, there will be a point where it cannot learn any more knowledge, that the computer caps out with what it can learn. But I want to take this further. I said that we use data to learn these facts. And we know that in today's world, there's an overwhelming amount of data. So to expect a computer to be able to efficiently reason from this, it's unreasonable itself. So what I want to do is I want to take advantage of the fact that computers are great at multitasking. I want to be able to break down that algebraic structure into smaller parts so that the learning is done in parallel. But what does that do to the knowledge that we can learn? Can we learn the same stuff, or are we going to lose parts? And if we do lose these parts, can we measure them and quantify them? With being able to discuss what knowledge is to a computer and quantify it, I'm hoping that we're one step closer to having machines that can learn. Thank you.
Next speaker is Ava Mueller.
Needles, patches. There are all kinds of ways to get medicine into our bodies. But what if there's a new way that could change how we're delivering medications to people? By being smart, intelligent. We already know what it means when someone is smart. But do you believe me when I say that materials can be smart as well? Smart materials are materials that respond to their environment. They have the ability to change their properties when external stimuli are applied. Stimuli such as temperature, light, and ultrasound waves, among many others. These are all attractive for controlling the release of drug in the human body. My name is Ava Mueller, and I'm a PhD student in the Department of Chemical Engineering. I've developed a novel method of fabricating smart particles of the size of less than 1 micron. To put this into perspective, my particles are 50 times smaller than the width of a human hair. With particles this small, I am able to localize and specifically target the release of drugs by fine-tuning their properties. My particles have 3 main properties. 1, they're smart. They're able to change their size in response to temperature. They decrease in size when exposed to body temperature, allowing for a drug to be released. They can also be reverted back to their original size at room temperature. This process is very similar to squeezing out that kitchen sponge, allowing for all the soap to come out. 2, my particles are little reservoirs of drug. They can control the speed at which drug is released into the body, meaning you don't have to take your medications as often. 3, my particles are degradable. They can be broken down into components that the body, especially the kidney, can easily process, so they don't stay in your body forever. My ultimate goal is to expand this set of smart materials and perhaps permanently change the way we will be delivering medications to millions of people in the future. So tomorrow, you may regret drinking those 8 glasses of wine at tonight's dinner. Consider this when reaching for that apple. That apple may one day be smarter than you. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Nicholas Smart.
Hockey. Born and raised in Canada, hockey is part of my identity. Its beauty is found within its chaos. But chaos can be dangerous. Chaos can lead to injury. Enter number 38, Matt Carente, professional hockey player. He takes a pass at center ice. At the last second, looks up and bang! He hits the ice hard. Matt Carente has suffered his first concussion. Matt was never the same after that and would experience 8 more until he was forced to retire at the age of 27. My name is Nicholas Samard, and my research revolutionizes the way we assess concussions. Take Matt, for example, or anyone who's ever had a concussion. They visit a doctor and they fill out some questionnaires, answering things like, are you sensitive to bright lights? Are you confused? Do you have a headache? It seems like you have a concussion, the doctor will say. Get some rest and you'll feel better. That current system is completely inaccurate, and the questionnaires are very subjective. Therefore, my research uses an objective assessment tool, a magnetic resonance imaging machine, or MRI. An MRI is able to take pictures of the brain and is currently used in severe cases of concussion when brain bleeding may be present. However, 80% of concussions in Canada last year alone were classified as mild, meaning no brain bleeding, but all the same symptoms. Using novel MRI techniques, my approach is able to identify very subtle structural and functional changes in the brain found in these mild forms of concussion. Using an MRI to investigate the brain's structural integrity at the fiber level and functional brain activation patterns, a mild injury no longer goes undetected. A technique like this will revolutionize our understanding of concussion, so that next time you're on the ice, on the field, or just out for a walk, and you hit your head, instead of questions, you're getting answers. Thank you.
Next speaker, Cameron Owens.
You might remember Ford's commercials promoting their lightweight new truck, new military-grade aluminum. Impressive, right? But what does that actually mean? Well, it means that it's very strong, lightweight, and can save you money. But what if I told you that there's an aluminum even stronger than military grade? Well, there is. Space-grade aluminum. You know, for rockets. My name is Cameron Allen, and I'm a master's student in the Metal Forming Laboratory at McMaster University. My focus is on using high-strength aluminum alloys in the cars of the future. With over 25% of global greenhouse gas emissions coming from the automotive industry alone, there's a substantial push to increase fuel efficiency. And with stringent fuel standards coming into play, all of these automotive manufacturers must invest in research related to aerodynamic vehicles, engine efficiency improvements, or reducing vehicle weight. My focus, reducing vehicle weight. By reducing a vehicle's weight by just 50 kilograms in each of the 70 million vehicles produced around the globe annually, we are able to have the opportunity to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 10 megatons. So to put this into perspective, that's the equivalent of eliminating the greenhouse gases from a country the size of Jamaica just in the first year alone. So how do we do this? Well, we use materials with the highest strength to weight ratios. Okay, so aluminum. We know that it's not as strong as steel, but at 1/3 of the weight, we can use slightly thicker car parts and maintain equivalent strengths so that we can reduce vehicle weight. Okay, the catch? Aluminum is not exactly formable at room temperature. So my job is to investigate aluminum's formability at elevated temperatures and figure out the process parameters that combine to go ahead and make a quality part. My research so far is promising, showing that at elevated temperatures, you can form aluminum into the complex shapes needed for structural car parts while hitting those target strengths for safety. So next time you go to buy a car, think, You could be piloting your very own spaceship, but it only comes in green. Thank you.
Our next speaker.
Today, the world is choking on plastic pens. Since 1950, over 100 billion disposable plastic pens have been sold, which is equivalent of 47 pens sold per second over the last 67 years. These pens may look small in size, but they do contribute to a lot of landfill waste, as these pens are made up of non-biodegradable petroleum waste plastics, and as they are thrown into the landfills, they give out toxic waste as these materials degrade. I am Rucha Kolte and our team from W. Booth School recognize this problem and are working to solve it. Our solution is to engineer a pen that to overcome these problems with using recyclable materials. We looked into the possible solutions about the type of material that we can have for our pen and found out that the recycled paper was one of the best options. Recycled paper has benefits of not only reducing the plastic but also reducing the paper runoff into the landfills by almost 500,000 metric tons over the similar time period as that of the existence of the plastic pens. Additionally, we have included in our design of the pen 3 C's in the pen constructions. Upon disposal, the user can plant these pens and grow in, allowing it to germinate and grows into a small plant. Trees benefits everybody. Trees filter air, mediate water runoff, retain soil, and not mentioning the positive benefits it has on the reduction of the global warming and as well as the thermal benefits we get on a hot summer day. Right now, we are at the stage of forming our company and commercializing this product within the next year. We hope each and every one of you can contribute to save the environment by buying one of our EcoPens. Thank you.
Next up, Ryan Rogers.
I love my childhood neighborhood. It's a central point to some of my fondest memories. And it's one of these memories I'd like to share with you today. I'll set the scene. It's a Saturday morning, early December. I'm 8 years old. I wake up, look outside, 5 inches of snow. I'm ecstatic. I run downstairs, and seconds later, I'm outside building a snow fort, ready to pummel the neighbors. But then, a shout from inside the house. It's my mom. She's furious. I think, what could I have possibly forgotten? Then I look back at the house and see it. The back door, wide open. Energy from inside streaming into the frigid outdoors. Sound familiar? We've all been there. But what if I told you that right now, we as a society are wasting significantly more energy than I did in that instance every day? Dollars and cents flowing out of our pockets, just because we can't balance our supply of renewable energy with our demand. Naturally, you'd be just as mad as my mom, wondering how you could recover that wasted energy. My name is Ryan Rogers, and our lab wants to help you do more with less by recapturing that energy. Our focus is on replacing traditional energy infrastructure with integrated community energy systems. Integrated community energy systems incorporate energy storage into a community that allows us to store energy during periods of low demand, as well as distribute energy during periods of high demand. This means that if there's renewable energy being generated, regardless of our current demands, we can store that energy and use it later, and it won't be wasted. Additionally, these systems also feature thermal grids that act as an electrical grid, but for heat energy, and allow us to share our thermal resources just like we share our electrical ones. Our initial results have found that this coupling of shared thermal resources and energy storage can dramatically reduce the total energy demand for a community, which saves you money. Our hope is to commercialize this system in 3 years and transform places like my childhood neighborhood into the sustainable communities of the future. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Cheng-Shu Chung.
Have you, your relatives, your friends ever suffered from a stroke? A stroke could happen to you at any time. You may even completely unaware of it. Late diagnosis could result in permanent disability or even death. My name is Tan Xiu. I want to detect this condition earlier and prevent these tragedies from occurring. Let me tell you about the brain. Brain cell activity generates brain waves. They reveal information about this activity, like billions of radio stations transmitting data every single second. This information can include abnormal cerebral blood flow, which is a sign of brain stroke. This information is key, but challenging to extract from the massive amount of data. My research is to find the information most relative about the brain stroke and detect it in a quick and easy way. I calculated a list of numbers from the brainwave signals, each number representing how brain cell activity changes in the different locations of the brain at different times. However, these numbers are encrypted in a higher dimensional space. It's like trying to read information on a crumpled paper ball. So, how would you read this information? By unfolding a piece of paper? Of course! This is exactly what I did mathematically. After I unfolded the special higher dimensional space of the numbers I calculated, the difference between brain waves from a normal person compared to a person who had a stroke became clear and detectable. My method was able to detect a brain stroke with 92% accuracy within 30 seconds. My goal is to combine my method with a wearable device, like a headband, and bring it to clinical use in the next 5 years. In the future, a stroke still could happen to you at any time. But this time, you will be aware of it. Your family members, your loved ones, can help you better. Thank you.
Well, that was our last speaker. Let's please join me again in thanking all of our wonderful graduate students today. I think we should also take a moment and thank a lot of the other support people around. I'm sure all of the students would like to thank their supervisors, their labs, their colleagues, especially my colleague. I'd like to have a shout out for Dr. John Hamlin, my colleague and mentor who worked with many of the teams in preparing this. Thank you very much. We're going to break now for a short period of time. The judges are going to deliberate and come to a decision on the 4 finalists that will be forwarded to the event in a couple of days. But wait, there is more. There is yet another event. We're not finished with the fun that's happening tonight. We're going to solicit input from you. Not just the judges, although we do respect your opinion and love it, but there is also a People's Choice Award. There is an award that we're going to see who appealed to you the most. Please feel free to text or email or contact us through the following website and indicate to us the next couple of minutes, if you could, your choice. Sorry. No, we're a high-tech university. You can use my phone if you want.
And so the easiest way is to actually just go to that website and enter that code.
So please,
As
go to the
opposed to
website.
texting, yeah.
Go to the website. All right, so we're going to break, pause for a short moment. Please bear with us. Please avail yourself of the refreshments, and we'll be back in touch shortly. It's a big event. It's a big moment. All right, the first award I'd like to announce is the People Choice Award, the award that was voted by the people here today. The winner of the People's Choice Award is Nicholas Simard. All right. The next awards, or the next announcement I'd like to make, are the 4 finalists that will appear on Thursday at the Big Pitch final event. In no particular order, the first finalist is Andrew Leclerc. Please join me. Please join me on stage, Andrew. The next finalist is Ava Mueller. But wait, there's more. The next finalist, Sam Peter. Excited. Okay. And the final finalist is Vincent Young. You guys want to move into the middle? Imagine here. So join me once again in thanking the finalists, all of our contestants today, and the judges panel. Thank you very much. So see you all on Thursday. Wonderful event. Again, appreciate your attendance.
Master Engineering. 60 years ago, there was a big idea. That big idea was to start a faculty of engineering at McMaster University. There's been many, many big ideas that have flown out of that. For this past year, we've been celebrating the 60th anniversary with our Big Ideas campaign, and this will be one of the highlights of that. The competition today is amongst, the next competition is amongst undergraduates. You will be competing for the opportunity to win large numbers of cash prizes. How much is the prize worth? Colin will tell you when he gets up there.
Yeah, I'll tell you when I get up there.
He'll tell you when he gets up there. Okay, there's an important rule to this. You have how many minutes to give your presentation? You guys are so much better than graduate students. It's like pulling teeth. Okay. Which makes, do you know who the most important person in the room is? The laptop guy. Laptop guy is Yavin. Yavin, could you stand up, please, so everyone can see you? What do you think of the glasses? I have a debate, adorable or cute, or sophisticated. How many say adorable? Okay, how many say cute? How many say sophisticated? All right. Gavin will be giving you 3 minutes and 3 minutes only. If you go over than that, he'll make a horrible sound and you will be disqualified. He won't make a horrible sound, but you will be disqualified. When 1 minute is left, what will you do, Yavin? What is the signal for 1 minute?
1 minute.
What is the signal for 30 seconds left? Okay, that's unless he falls asleep and stops paying attention, in which case you can probably go for as long as you would like. All right, so tonight is to determine the finalists, which will go forward into the final competition, which will take place on Thursday evening at the University Club. That will be a competition that will involve outstanding graduate students. They were very good. It will involve outstanding undergraduates, because I have faith in you guys. And it will involve a bunch of faculty members, and I'm really a little worried about how that's going to work. So that's what we're doing. And to give you a sense of that, I would now like to cue the video. I'm going to say it again. Cue the video. Managing Director of Computing and Infrastructure Research Center, one of the most prolific centers on campus. Nourhan Youssef, Project Manager, Suez, WTS, and also a recent alumni. Sophia Emerson, Founder, Undergraduate Student Research and Engineering, and current Master's Student in Chemical Engineering. And the name's gonna, you and Chris, which places are.
We get it all the time.
That's okay. Sanjay Sagar, who is the Manager of Steelmaking Technology, Global ArcelorMittal Dofasco. And I'll just make a little shout out to ArcelorMittal Dofasco. They are our Employer of the Week. We've had a number of great events around that. We're also going to have an interesting research discussion coming up in the next few weeks. They have some really exciting ideas about how to dramatically reduce CO2 production during steelmaking operations. I'm really looking forward to those discussions. So with that, I would now like to invite Colin McDonald to be the MC for this competition.
Thank you, John.
evening, everyone. So my name is Colin McDonald. I'm director of Engineering 1. I've had the opportunity to get to know many of these competitors over the past number of years, and it's quite spectacular to have these undergraduates coming up and pitch these very exciting, very ambitious ideas. So I know that I'm very much looking forward to it. And I know that I'm not limited to 3 minutes, but I'm not going to talk very long because I'm just not that interesting. So just to reiterate what John was saying is that you each have 3 minutes. There is a timer over there on the screen, and Yevon will have his hand signals, which are 1 minute, 30 seconds. There we go. In terms of cash prizes, because John prompted me and I immediately had my research team dig up exactly what the cash prizes were. So 4 of you will be selected at the end of the evening to compete for $2,500 in cash prizes, with the first place prize of $1,000. Okay? And we also have, for everyone in the audience, we have a People's Choice Award. So as you're watching the various big ideas pitches, please keep in mind for your favorite, and we will post a link in order for you to vote afterwards. So without further ado, I would like to get started. So our first competitor is a level 4 mechanical engineering student. Please welcome Leno Zhao.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leno. I'm a mechanical engineering student. Fire kills. Even though we set the fire code as a prevention method to save lives and preserve properties, each year there are still many casualties caused by fire. One of the reasons is firefighters are burdened with the task of navigating under dangerous conditions in limited time. I wonder, will there be a way that we can reduce the amount of uncertainties for firefighters to maximize their efficiency? After having interviews with many firefighters, I have come to a conclusion that the main challenges firefighters face are the ability to see and communication difficulties. Thus, this has inspired me to develop this pair of smart goggles that can be attached on their helmet. By projecting a thermal image through augmented reality technology, firefighters will be able to see through smoke hands-free without the need of a heavy handheld thermal gun. Furthermore, their vision ability is also being greatly enhanced. The smart goggle is capable to detect object edges, as well as recognizing the hidden fire in the walls. There is no doubt that firefighters rely on each other as a team to save lives. Therefore, it is crucial that firefighters can communicate with each other in a timely manner. So with the firefighter, the fusion vision system is embedded with indoor tracking, which will provide the real-time location and altitude level for firefighters to ensure their safety and efficiency. The commanding officer will also be able to see what every member sees. This will allow the commanding officer to make a better informed decision during the operation. We have introduced our prototype to many fire headquarters, including Hamilton, Niagara Falls, Brantford, and Waterloo. Our design has fulfilled firefighters' demands on both functionalities and safety concerns. The Brantford fire chief has commented on our prototype, a real game changer. With that being said, Dean Kamen once quoted, "Every once for a while, a new technology, an old problem, and a big idea come into innovation." Thank you.
Okay, next up we have a level 4 student from the Bachelor of Technology program in Biotechnology. Please welcome Cole Kirschner.
We've all heard it before. Age is just a number. But is it really, though?
I mean, we all know that one person that looks and feels a lot younger than they actually are, and the truth is, we all age at different rates. The combination of eating out occasionally, drinking a couple times per week, or skipping exercise can all add up and accelerate the aging process. Now, there's so many ways to keep track of our health, it's crazy to think we still lack an accurate and affordable way to keep track of how fast we're aging. My name is Cole Kirshner, and for my capstone project at McMaster, we developed this solution. We developed a revolutionary test that can accurately and affordably predict how well you're aging in response to life choices. This is the age rate test. Now you may be thinking, why would we want to know how fast we're aging? Well, when we reach an optimal level of health, not only do we look and feel younger, but on a genetic level, we are younger. Studies have shown that as we age, our genes become turned off through a process known as DNA methylation. Think of DNA methylation like a switch for our genes. As we age, the genes responsible for our bodies functioning optimally become turned off. This is the aging process. Now, the aging process can be accelerated when these genes become turned off prematurely. And this happens through lack of physical activity, poor nutrition, and even smoking. Luckily, multiple studies have shown that these genes can be turned back on through adopting healthy life choices. Our capstone team developed a novel method of measuring DNA methylation. Using this measurement and a machine learning algorithm, we can provide you with your biological age. The difference between your biological age and your actual age represents how fast you're aging. We like to call this number your age rate. There's a huge demand from research groups to examine biological age in population health studies. However, this has been difficult since the current methods of measuring biological age have proven to be either unreliable or simply too expensive. Our solution overcomes both of those obstacles and provides researchers with a cost-effective and accurate way to determine biological age. In addition, the age rate test provides an opportunity for researchers to validate whether or not new therapies or treatments are effective in slowing the aging process. Currently, we're in the midst of validating our test in a clinical trial consisting of 500 participants. We expect the results to be available come 2019. So our team consists of myself, fellow researcher Nathan Codd, and world-renowned geneticist Dr. Guillaume Perret. Our vision is that getting your age rate checked will be as common as getting your heart rate checked. Together, we want to get the message out to the masses that your age is more than just a number. Thank you.
Okay, next we have a level 4 student in electrical and biomedical engineering. Please welcome Sahaz Diyal.
If someone asked you how they could improve their child's health, what advice would you give them? Get them involved in a sport or make sure they eat healthy foods? However, something you should definitely be stressing is the importance of good oral health, because oral health affects your overall health. Research conducted by the Canadian Dental Association shows that children miss more than 2.26 million school days per year due to dental-related illnesses. Some of these children come from low-income families who can't afford to receive dental care on a regular basis. Therefore, another study conducted in the United States revealed that 82% of children who were recommended for dental visits by their schools, however, ended up receiving the dental care they needed. This sounded very interesting to me, and this is where my big idea comes into play. My name is Sahaz Dayal. I am a 4th year electrical and biomedical engineering student, and my big idea is Dentasys. A portable and cost-effective toothbrush-sized oral health evaluation device which allows the user to capture various images of the teeth being examined and reports the existence of any visible dental-related illnesses such as cavities or gum inflammation. Dentasys wirelessly sends a captured image to its corresponding app located on the user's phone or tablet, where the image is first pre-processed, in which certain features of interest are made more easily visible. Next, this image is analyzed, where irregular features such as cavities are detected, extracted, and recorded by the software. Finally, the software relays this recorded data to the user and suggests whether an immediate dental visit should be considered for the individual undergoing the evaluation. Collectively, this process is known as image analysis. Utilizing DentaSist in elementary schools could greatly minimize the effects of poor oral health in children and help children obtain healthier lives and healthier smiles to show it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So next up, we have a fourth-year student in engineering physics. Please welcome Liam Flanagan.
Okay, so our climate is changing, and in the past few years, we've observed rising sea levels, shrinking glaciers, and intense heat waves. This has affected millions of people, and that number will only continue to grow. Clearly, green energy is more necessary now than it ever has been in the past. Fortunately, in Ontario, we have a green energy plan, like many places in the world, and a large contributor of that plan is nuclear energy, due to the low carbon emissions that it produces relative to the amount of power it can produce. In the past year, Ontario had over half of its power generated by nuclear reactors. Unfortunately, not everything green is welcome in Ontario. Rising temperatures have created an optimal environment for the growth of algae, especially in the lakes we use to cool our nuclear reactors. As a result of this, algae is stirred up by storms that is then caught in the coolant intakes for the nuclear reactors, which is such a large safety hazard, it requires reactor shutdown. To make things worse, the power we lose is replaced by natural gas, which is a fossil fuel. So, this is a very expensive problem for us to solve, and it costs a lot of time and money, and we'll come back to that point in a second. Cleaning the nuclear reactor coolant intakes after they've been clogged is a very difficult problem, because algae tends to clog up and coat the pipes, and that requires specialized tools to remove. That's where my device comes in, which is an automated algae removal device that prevents the algae from reaching the reactor coolant intakes in the first place. So the device is composed of two systems. There's an unmanned aerial drone equipped with a video camera. There's also an aquatic robot with an algae removal system. Now, the aerial drone uses image processing to detect algal blooms and then generate a path for the robot to follow. The robot, which is equipped with an advanced control system, then follows the path laid out by the drone, and this system supports multiple robots in the water at once, where each robot is assigned a different path to ensure that they don't run into each other. Also, we would like the system to be able to run 24/7, so each robot is equipped with a set of lights to help with navigation and image processing at night. This should significantly reduce the amount of algae available to go into the coolant intake pipes, which will prevent future shutdown events. As a result of this, we're hoping that we can save a significant amount of money. In this past summer alone, there were 5 algae-related shutdown events for the nuclear reactor in Pickering, and that cost over $5 million. So we're hoping we can make algae-related events a thing of the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liam. So just very quickly, the big ideas, the levers. Who came up with this brilliant idea? Everyone's pointing at Haley. So just when our wonderful dean wants to come up with something new, can I just call dibs? I've got 2 boys, and I just want dibs on all of these letters because they look great in my back. Are they foam or are they? Oh, never mind. Okay, we're good. Forget it.
Try and lift one.
Later. I'm just going to do some push-ups in the back. So I want to get to our next competitor. She's a second-year iBiomed student. Please welcome Cherry Hum.
So I was actually cleaning my fridge before I came here in preparation for reading week, And I found a packet of pork chops that had slits acid in behind the shelves and falling to the back. They looked fine to me, but I knew that the last time I'd gone shopping was approximately 2 weeks ago, and I took a chance and threw them in the trash instead of eating it. How are you supposed to know if your food is safe to eat and hasn't been contaminated? I know that most adults I've met in my life are capable of doing this, but I have yet to figure it out. However, the lab that I worked in this summer, under the supervision of Dr. Felipe and Dr. Didar, published a paper earlier this year, Sentinel Wraps. It details the implementation of a real-time bacterial detection device in food packaging. And they do this by using a molecule called DNAzyme. You can see a picture of it up there. And DNAzyme essentially glows or fluoresces in the presence of bacteria. And this gives you a quantifiable measure of contamination. This really was the basis for my big idea. My name is Cherry Hung, and my big idea is to create a cost-effective and efficient method of bacteria detection, which you can use in both daily life and in the biomedical world. Consider a spray with DNAzyme in it. One spritz onto any surface, and you would be able to tell if there was bacteria on it. All of you have your phones, kitchen counters, bathroom sinks. One spray, and you could tell it's probably time to wipe it down with a bit of Lysol. Consider the implementation of DNAzyme into surgical packaging. A surgeon could tell prior to surgery whether or not his tools were contaminated, minimizing the risks for everyone involved. You could have DNAzyme-coated surfaces in wards or on doorknobs because, you can prevent contamination better if you have a visible effect of it. And the thing is, the possibilities with DNAzyme are endless. You can tailor DNAzyme so that it detects different kinds of bacteria or recognizes relative amounts of bacteria. It doesn't have to be limited to a spray or on a surface. Really, anything you can think of. And I didn't really realize it at the time, but the work that I was doing in the lab this summer under the supervision of both doctors that I mentioned previously who are here to support me today, it was actually bringing my big idea one small step closer into reality. I'm really excited to see where this project is going to lead, and who knows, maybe next time you guys have a package of pork chops in your fridge, it'll have the DNAzyme packaging on it. With one quick look, you'll be able to see the relative amounts of E. coli or salmonella lounging around in your food, and you'll know without a doubt that you have to trash it, and you can't save, even though you're a broke student. Thank you for listening to my big idea.
Thank you, Cherry. So next we have third-year mechanical engineering student. Please welcome Swale Oase.
Locked-in syndrome is a medical condition where a patient is almost completely paralyzed. People with LIS have lost the ability to control almost every muscle in their body. These victims can't move their hands, arms, legs, not even their larynx. And consequently, they have also lost the ability to talk, type, and in general, communicate. Because of their condition, LIS victims are stuck, with their speech and thought trapped inside of them. And that's why the purpose of this project is to provide LIS patients with the means of communication. Because fortunately, LIS victims can move one part of their body. They can blink their eyes. So, we've developed a working software application that allows someone to communicate with complete independence using just eyeballs. Blink2Text is a desktop application that allows someone to record messages, recite messages aloud, and send those messages to others via SMS using just eyeballs. The software can run on a low-end machine, and using a basic standard webcam, the program can autonomously detect eye blinks and eye movements for a person with and without glasses. And on this slide, I also have the program interface for the software application. This interface can be operated entirely with eye blinks. A person with this user interface can blink out words at a rate of 2 words per minute. And the program actually uses natural language processing, a machine learning technique, to predict the next word that a user will blink out and speed up the rate of communication. If you're curious, you can see a working demo of the project at this link. Now, once again, this software does not require high-end hardware to function. It can run on cheap, low-cost computers, which makes it accessible to people across financial classes and ensures anybody that needs this solution can use this software and implement it for their loved one. Now, when I show people this project, their immediate reaction is, why can't a nurse do this? Why can't a nurse decode a person's eye blinks and help a person who suffers from this terrible condition speak for them? And it's absolutely true that a nurse can do this job, that a nurse can read a person's eye blinking and help them speak, especially if they're a McMaster nurse. But a key goal of Blink to Text is not only to allow LIS victims to communicate, but to allow them to communicate independently. Because everyone should have the ability to speak for themselves without the need of anyone else, to have true self-expression. And Blink to Text helps accomplish this goal one blink at a time. Thank you.
Okay, our next presenter is a third-year chemical and bio, Annika Yardi.
Imagine a drug inside your body. The drug must navigate around cells and through membranes, just like rush hour traffic. And in traffic, we start and stop, and start and stop. In the traffic of our bodies, effective drug delivery is difficult. Our body's immune system builds roadblocks that reroute those drugs out of the body. In our eyes, these roadblocks are our tear film and our tightly bound blood vessels. Less than 5% actually reaches the back of your eye. So, look around you here. Recognize that someone is diabetic and in danger of losing their vision. Would you want those roadblocks to hinder the drug? No. I'm Annika Yardi, and as part of the Sheardown Lab, we've created a unique delivery method for ocular drugs. We've developed a liquid that gels instantaneously upon contact with the eye. The change in temperature from your surroundings to your eye is what causes this phase change. So you're probably wondering, why do we care? Diabetics have weak blood vessels. These blood vessels can be easily damaged. Blood can leak out into the eye and damage your vision. Before our drug, patients required monthly injections. Uncomfortable, awkward injections. Now, with our drug, patients require fewer injections. The drug is targeted and remains for a long period of time, leaching out slowly. So, instead of fighting your body's traffic, the drug can surpass it, like a motorcycle, weaving through traffic. This drug is the future of ocular drug delivery. Thank you.
Thank you, Annika. Our next presenter is a fourth-year civil and society student. Please welcome Emma Howlett.
So, as part of my degree, I'm also completing a minor in sustainability. So, I spend a lot of time thinking, like maybe you do, how can we make public transit better? Now, to start off, what would be the ideal form of public transit? We want to combine maybe the comfort and convenience of a cab with the cost effectiveness and sustainability of a Sobi bike share. Now, this is where shared autonomous electric tricycles come in. A user would simply page them like an Uber. It would drive you to the train, pick you up, and drive you to where you want to go. Now, what problem is this solving? Well, it's solving the first mile, last mile transit problem, which is people are already taking their commute into their own hands. They drive themselves to the bus stop, park at the bus stop, take the GO bus. But you can guess what they do when the parking lot's full. They just keep driving, making the stop effectively useless. Now, you're probably wondering, why not just take a cab? Well, it really comes down to cost. Because it is autonomous, you're eliminating the cost of a driver. And because it is electric, you're decreasing the fuel cost as well. So the Victoria Institute of Transport has predicted that by 2035, shared autonomous electric vehicles will cost 10 to 35 cents per mile. Now, that's electric vehicles. If we're looking at electric tricycles, which are lighter, and the price of purchase is 100 times less, it's going to cost less. Now, you're probably wondering, who is this going to benefit? Well, it will benefit our primary commuters who are currently using cars. It'll give them a more cost-effective and sustainable solution. But it is most going to benefit seniors and young adults without access to a car due to price or a lack of license. This is because electric tricycles fall under the same legislation as electric bicycles, where you just need to be over 16 and they have a maximum speed of 30 kilometers an hour. This allows the tricycles to turn a 60-minute walk into a 10-minute ride. So I think people would start adopting them for trips even within a city, like grocery store to home or home to sports practice. Therefore, I think as a society, we should investigate shared autonomous electric tricycles to make transit better. Thank you.
Okay, next we have another fourth year engineering physics students. Please welcome Mario Tovar.
A lack of sleep can become a nightmare. While we may not yet understand the inner workings of sleep, there is no doubt that it's tremendously important to our lives. It's been shown time and time again that quality of sleep and quality of life are deeply intertwined. Sleep has a direct impact on our productivity. Even short nap breaks have been shown to cause immediate boosts in productivity. And more than that, it's been shown that patient recovery is directly tied into quality of sleep as well. Unfortunately, with our increasingly urbanized world, it's become more and more difficult to escape the excess noise, and not everyone can get a good night's sleep. So, there's existing solutions, but I find them inadequate. There's noise dampening available, but that only really works for sound that's traveling between rooms or from outdoors to indoors. And then there's earplugs or headphones that can cancel noise, which are effective, but not really ideal for someone who's trying to get some sleep, and are very uncomfortable. So what we need is a device that's completely contactless and can block sound at a distance as it arrives to the user, and do so from all directions. So what I'm proposing is Sleep Sound, which would be an active noise-canceling device based on the same principle of destructive interference used in existing noise-canceling headphones. The difference being, rather than having the speakers mounted at the user's head, there would be a set of speakers with corresponding microphones aimed omnidirectionally and away from them. And this might sound kind of far-fetched, but this sort of advanced noise canceling has been implemented successfully in similar fashion in existing luxury cars for dampening road noise. And similar to how people value their comfort in luxury cars, they also value their sleep in general. In 2017, the sleep market was valued at almost $30 billion in the United States alone. So there's really a demand for Sleep Sound to become a successful consumer product in this vein. There could be features such as a soft alarm, which would gradually awaken the user by slowly reintroducing sound to them. Or there could be machine learning algorithms implemented to categorize sound by its importance, and then only filter sounds that really require the user's attention. Now, the problem with all this, and noise canceling in general, is that high-frequency sounds can be difficult to block out. The fundamental physics of the destructive interference is the same, it just gets more and more finicky. And so it'll be challenging to block out all the different kinds of sounds that can disturb someone's sleep. But I think this is a worthwhile challenge to undertake because it will have a measurable impact on improving people's quality of life, boosting their productivity, and improving patient recovery times. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we dampen shrieking toddlers? No. That one struck a chord. So next up we have fifth year engineering physics students. Please welcome Hannah McPhee.
Every day, firefighters respond to building emergencies. Some are small, like any time someone in my residence tried to make a toast. But many are large and life-threatening. In the case of these serious building fires, firefighters have to do a complete and systematic search of every room in the building to make sure that it's safe. Before they enter the building to do these searches, they often know very little about the situation that they're entering. They might know where the fire started because they can identify what zone the fire alarm is activated in. They might know the floor plan of the building or some structural information from city inspections. But what they don't know is crucial information about what's happening in the building at that moment. How has the fire progressed since the alarm first went off? Have any changes to the floor plan been made since the one they received was made? Are there people still in the building? And if there are, where are they? This information is essential for helping firefighters be safe and effective in their building searches. And most importantly, it's essential for helping them get people out of the building quickly. We know that in fires, the majority of injuries happen not because of the fire itself, but because of prolonged smoke inhalation. So the faster we can get people out of the building, the better. That's why my capstone group conceived the project known as FENRIS, which is the Fire Emergency Response Information System. FENRIS is a system of sensors that will be installed in the building the same way a typical fire alarm system is. It's a network connected with a Bluetooth mesh that's activated in the event of a fire. In the event of this fire, it starts recording information about the building that's accessible by the fire department when they arrive on scene. FENRIS uses smoke detectors and temperature detectors to find out which rooms in the building are unsafe for humans and also track how the fire is progressing throughout the structure. They have visual cameras that use image processing to identify where the safe exits are in every room, and coupled with passive infrared sensors, which locate heat signals, they can see where people are in the building. FENRIS takes all this information, processes it, and creates a smart and informative floor plan and an optimized building search plan for the fire department that puts rooms that are unsafe for people and rooms that have people in them first on the priority list. FENRIS is relatively similar in price to existing fire alarm systems or security systems. So this makes it a very accessible way that we can either install in new buildings or retrofit in old buildings to make them safer and make our emergency response smarter. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. So our next big idea comes from an Engineering 1 student. Please welcome Raheel Shah.
This background photo, what does it represent? It symbolizes the friendly, helpful, and beautiful community here at McMaster University. The sense of community, togetherness, and the idea of bringing people together to create a better world. Imagine all of that being bundled into one thing. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would it be? Hello everyone, my name is Raheel Shah, and I'm in my first year of engineering. I'm a freshman, fresh out of high school. And let me tell you how many times I've had people tell me, Raheel, where did you volunteer? I need to get my hours. It should never be about the hours, but the experience volunteering gives. The gratitude that someone expresses to you when you do volunteer is like no other. And that very thought made me think big and led me to the idea of Gratitude, which is a website that serves the purpose of connecting the community to non-governmental organizations. The first main aspect of gratitude is to provide a hub for volunteers to easily find volunteer opportunities and non-governmental organizations to easily find volunteers. The second aspect allows users to donate to NGOs of their choice and support charitable causes while exploring all kinds of non-profit organizations and movements. NGOs registered on Gratitude can post events or volunteer positions, and correspondingly users can select shifts for those events or volunteer positions. And for those who want, their hours will be logged and they will be able to get verified by the respective organization. The second aspect works in a very similar manner. Users can go through lists of NGOs and select organizations that they feel like they want to donate to. They can either do a one-time donation or a periodic donation. And of course, NGOs will be able to view all their donations. The great thing about Gratitude is that people of all ages can use it, from teenagers all the way to seniors. Trust me, seniors will have no problem with this platform the way my grandparents use WhatsApp. And we spend so much time on this. Why not spend some of that time giving back to the community and making a positive difference in the world? I'd like to end off on one last thing. Remember those people that I talked about in the beginning who didn't know where to volunteer or get hours? Next time I meet a person like that, I'm going to tell them one word: gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a fourth year mechanical engineering and management student. Please welcome Michael Farquharson.
Hydrogen-powered flight. It's been done before. I'll be the first to admit it. But has it ever been done right? That's the question I want to answer today. Hello, my name is Michael, as I said before. I'm currently in my fourth year of mechanical engineering, and I want to answer that question so badly. But first, I want to talk about the question, what is hydrogen-powered flight? Now, hydrogen is one of two elements that make up H2O, or water, and so that gives us a renewable source of hydrogen as well. Now, if we want to use this hydrogen to then power a plane, we'd have to be able to both store it and then convert it into electricity. The problem with that, however, is that it needs to be light enough for the plane to carry as well. So the thing about hydrogen, though, is it has to be pressurized up to a very high pressure, 700 bar, which is 700 times the pressure of our atmosphere, for it to be usable. Now, that comes as an issue again, because currently, the only gas tanks that can hold hydrogen pressurized up that high are heavy and they're made of steel. Now, as I said before, hydrogen-powered flight has been done before, but all the tanks for them had to be made of composite materials in order for the plane to be light enough to take off. So that leads to a dilemma. You need it up to 700 bar, but these ones are only able to be pressurized at 350 bar. So that leaves us with glider-like aircrafts, light planes that can't really carry a lot of cargo. So, luckily for us, in recent years, leaps and bounds have been made in composite material research, and Toyota has actually developed a hydrogen tank made of composite materials that can be pressurized up to 700 bar. So, my idea is to combine these two aspects, this new technology that's been developed by Toyota, and then with commercial aircrafts that propel using motors, together to give us a clean energy airplane that aren't limited by size. And my hope is that in the very near future, all airplanes will be powered by hydrogen. And there will be no more negative environmental effects from the air travel industry. Thank you.
Okay, our next big idea comes again from Engineering 1. Please welcome Manpreet Mahi.
Okay, what if it took 4 months instead of 6 months to build a bridge? What if it took 2 months instead of 4 months to build a house? And what if it took 1 day instead of 2 days to assemble a crane? Well, what I'm working with here is drones. Drones are everyday items. Drones are used. What started as a platform for hobbyists has now become not only a multi-billion-dollar industry, but a passion for me: drones. What we haven't realized is the potential of drones. Every day we see buildings being made with big cranes, but what we don't realize is how much time that we're wasting sending products up and down, and how much time we could be saving. Drones are unmanned aerial system vehicles, which are what I'm working towards is building a drone that can carry up to 30 pounds and work on at least an hour at full charge. These drones would be able to lift heavy weights and build them up and down multiple flights, which is reducing the time that it takes to use cranes and sending products up and down big buildings. So essentially, right now, I'm working on a drone that can carry up to 30 pounds and work at an hour at full charge. However, you must be thinking, how can a drone carry 30 pounds and build a building? Well, what I'm working with here is an unmanned aerial system. An unmanned aerial system will work with a team of drones. Think of it this way. When you're working for a project, you're working with a team of people. You're not the only person doing the whole project. So, likewise, the team of drones, when they see a weight that they can't carry by themselves, they will work with a team of drones. So let's say you have a weight that is around 300 pounds, but each drone can only carry 30 pounds. You will have a team of 5 drones working together to carry that weight. My name is Mirapreet Mahi. Thank you for watching my presentation.
So next up, we have a third-year computer science student. Please welcome Natasha Varghese.
As of June, approximately 68.5 million people are forcibly displaced from their homes due to violence. We are living in the worst refugee crisis since World War II. From Syria, South Sudan, and Myanmar, people are forced to take to the oceans or to the mountains or to the deserts in order to escape. There's no safe passage, there's no exit strategy anywhere, because no one saw these events coming and no one could plan accordingly. I remember learning in history class about the red flags that precipitated these events: a change in political party, past economic or territorial grievances, or a surge in propaganda. Yet, even with all this knowledge, the most educated people in the world still fail to predict these events before they happen. But what if a computer could? My name is Natasha Varghese, and my big idea is an application called SafeWorld that utilizes predictive analytics to ascertain when and where the next refugee crisis could occur. Predictive analytics is a field of study that utilizes past and current data to make assumptions on the future. It's comprised of machine learning and data mining. Machine learning is the idea that a program can be automated to enhance its performance given a trained data set. And data mining is the idea that we can find patterns in large data sets. This might seem like science fiction or a prerogative of the distant future, but you'll be surprised to know that machine learning was first successfully implemented in the 1990s with the advent of your email spam filter. And since then, these applications have become more precise and more advanced, with companies and solo programmers alike creating applications that can predict stock prices or natural disasters or even election outcomes. SafeWorld would take in everything from a country's currency value, political party trends, as well as wealth distributions in order to ascertain whether a mass influx of people might be leaving the location at a specific time in the future. This application could be used by both governments and humanitarian agencies alike to create evacuation strategies, resettlement plans, and ceasefires in a timely manner instead of reactively. This could not only save lives, but help bring peace in conflict-ridden areas faster. Companies have learned how to use machine learning to find out what a consumer may want to buy in the future. We've learned how to invest in money, so how about we learn how to invest in lives? Thank you.
Okay, next we have a level 5 electrical and biomedical engineering student. Please welcome Jessica Track.
Good evening, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you all about, patient education. I want you all to imagine that what I experienced just now is exactly what a patient may be experiencing. Walking out of a clinic, thinking, trying to remember, and then forgetting exactly what their physician advised them to do. At their next follow-up, the doctor asks them, "So, how have those supplements been working for you?" And then the patient goes, "Oh, so that's what you told me to do. Couldn't read your notes, so try again next couple of weeks and let you know next follow-up." The cycle continues, valuable medical time is wasted, and patient health deteriorates. Unfortunately, this happens more often than you think. One study actually shows that patients forget roughly 50% of medical advice shortly after leaving their doctor's office. This problem is called patient adherence. It's the degree to which patients correctly follow their medical advice. It's a common and, you can imagine, costly medical challenge. It affects people of old age and also poor cognitive function. So, there is a need for technology that better improves the use of medical resources, saving the healthcare system physician time and also improving patient health. My name is Jessica Track, and I'm a final year electrical and biomedical engineering student, and I have a solution to this problem. I propose MetaNote. It's a simple mobile application that acts as a diligent companion for patients to bring with them to their medical appointments. With physician consent, the patient can use MetaNote to record patient consultation. And the power of this application lies in the fact that it can take physician advice and transform it into transcribed text. And then this transcribed text will be fed into an algorithm that can detect key phrases such as take pill, morning, empty stomach. So now, instead of physician advice being stored loosely in the patient's memory, it's stored safely and objectively in MetaNote for the patient to see, to review, and to share with their family. So imagine, you're halfway across the country and you can no longer accompany your dependent mother, father, or grandparents to see their physician. Instead of calling them up and trying to communicate with them on details that they may have already forgotten, they can just open up MetaNote and they can press send, and it can update you on their treatment. The implications of this idea is huge for a healthcare system. It has the opportunity to maximize patient consultation, improve patient health, and bring reassurance to families of patients. Thank you.
Our next competitor is a second-year iBiomed student. Please welcome Yumna Irfan.
Imagine having cancer and not even knowing it. Around 90,000 new melanoma cases are diagnosed each year, and 9,000 of those people are expected to die of this very curable cancer. Why? Because of late diagnosis. Melanoma is a dangerous form of skin cancer that appears as moles on the skin, and it's often very hard to detect because people don't pay attention to changes on their skin or actually know the symptoms. My name is Yumna Irfan, and I present to you Melanotics, a website and an Android app that can revolutionize prevention and early detection of melanomas. It allows the user to take a picture of their mole and determines the risk analysis of what a rough surface. And as you can see in this picture, this melanoma presented a risk factor of 88%. And the website also prompts the user to go visit a doctor immediately. In contrast, if it's just a regular mole, it presented a risk factor of 1%, easing the user's mind. This algorithm was trained with using over 200 pictures of melanomas from different hospital databases, making it 92.4% accurate. Right now, Melanonic's app and website can just do this. But in the future, it'll be able to track progression over time and check whether that mole is getting bigger. Because one of the greatest signs of melanoma is that it's evolving. Humans, not even doctors, can tell if your mole is a millimeter bigger, but a computer can. Melanonics is a quick fix, whenever, wherever, and it empowers you to take charge of your own health. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuna. Okay, our next big idea comes from a third-year mechanical engineering student. Please welcome Sierra Pack.
Have you ever walked home alone and was afraid? Imagine you're walking alone and it's dark. You're tense. You see a shadow creeping up. Could it be the Westdale Bandit, the Thorndale Diddler? Many students at McMaster have been feeling more paranoid than ever before due to the Westdale and the Thorndale break-ins. My name is Sierra Pack and I have a solution. My solution is an app that provides safety and peace when walking alone. This app allows you to contact the SWAT team wherever you are on campus. And although the SWAT team is not always available, and depending on your situation, you can't always access them, there's also a phone line, so you can contact them and call the volunteer for company when you're walking alone. You can also call your friends, and the app will display when they're available or not. Now, all you have to do with this app is store your emergency contact information and your photo, and also share your location. So, this is all kept anonymous unless an emergency occurs. If that emergency occurs, then you just press an emergency button and it will share your location and your location will be a real-time and current location. So as you're moving, it will also be moving as well. Your information will also be sent to them as well. So this will be all sent to the on-campus police or to 911, depending on if your location is on campus or off campus. So I believe that this is my vision for this to not just be within university campuses, but for everyone everywhere, so that wherever you are, the nearest security can come and reach you and help the first responders reach you as quickly as possible. Because right now, it's so easy for us to reach first responders, but it's still so difficult for them to locate and pinpoint where we are. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have a third-year student in electrical engineering and management. Please welcome Aya Abogano.
You had a long day. You've worked. You've studied. You get to your bike rack, but your bike, it's gone. Bike theft. Bike theft is a constant issue in our community. Wouldn't you agree? Have you, or anyone you know, had a bike stolen? Even parts of it taken away. This is a constant issue in our community. And it also happens more than you think in Hamilton. This is my idea. A bike rack that locks the bike for you. A smart rack. So, what can you do with this? Well, this bike rack can be placed anywhere. What are some other benefits? Well, one, it will lock your bike from the front and the back, while still securing the frame. No more stolen parts. Two, it can be charged charged using solar panels. I'm an electrical engineer, so I like the idea of using renewable energy sources wherever possible. 3, you wouldn't need to carry around a lock and key wherever you go, reducing your chances of misplacing your key or your lock getting cut. And 4, it's fast and easy to sign up right at the moment you want to lock your bike, wherever that may be. Now, how does this work? Well, when you approach this bike rack, you go on your mobile phone and online you select which rack you'll be placing your bike at. Put your bike in place, enter the code, and voila, your bike is safe and secure. To unlock, simply enter that code again, and your bike can be released. So now, when you finish that long day, when you've worked, when you study for that midterm you got tomorrow, you go to your bike rack, and your bike, it's still there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next big idea comes from a third-year student in Mechanical Engineering and Society. Please welcome Andrew Aslanidis.
Here at McMaster, I think we can all agree that education is important. In fact, one of the greatest privileges I will ever have in my lifetime is the ability to come here and study my passion, engineering. Unfortunately, for many people, there are barriers and circumstances that get in the way of them attending school just like I am. If you go back 30, even 50 years ago, and you look at how university was, you'll notice that it has remained fundamentally the same all the way up until now. University still requires you to go live in a different location, pay a lot of money, use up all of your time, and navigate a foreign campus. How come we haven't come up with a better way to do this by now? My big idea is to eliminate these barriers by using modern technology to deliver university-level education to people who wouldn't otherwise get it. Lectures would be delivered online. They can be replayed, paused, and even repeated if they need to. There'll be interactive content to go along with it. When you pay tuition to the virtual university, you'll receive a tech kit with the latest technology in it and all of the resources you'll need to complete your education. You can do your labs using the latest in virtual and mixed reality headsets. You'll be able to write tests and assignments on a writing tablet with a digitizer pen. And you'll even have virtual office hours with your professor, where they can work with you through problems. Now think about the opportunities and the people that this will benefit. That single parent that never got the opportunity to study science. The young adult who can't leave the family farm because they don't have enough money, but they want to start their career in economics. Someone who can't leave their home very long because they have a physical disability. Or even people who live in parts of the world where there aren't engineering schools dotted all over the place, and they can just go and study there. My big idea is to bring the education that I cherish every day and deliver it to people like that and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. So with that, draws a close to our competitors. I would like to take an opportunity to give our group a very warm round of applause. Very well done. Oh, this holy cow, that's heavy. Yeah, you're right. I'm not kidding. Why? Wow. Okay, yeah, you weren't kidding. I thought you were joking. Okay. Wow. So our judges now are going to deliberate for a little bit, completely forgetting the awkwardness that I just created. So we're going to give them about 15 minutes, and then we're going to come back. We're going to gather all of you around for a very nice photo op. So it's a good opportunity to part your hair and look nice. And then we are going to select our top 4 finalists to come back on Thursday evening. If we could also get, there we go, somebody's paying attention. If you want to text in your vote for the People's Choice Award to 816-338-7051, or go to swiftpolling.com and enter N1954.
Just the website.
Just the website. So do not text your vote to 816-338-7051. Please go to swiftpolling.com and enter N1954. Do not vote for yourself. I'm looking at all of you. I know that we made you come up here for a happy photo before telling you the results. And now we're going to do some few other thank yous before telling you the results. I do want to take this opportunity to thank our wonderful judges for taking time and making some very, very difficult decisions. I'm glad that I just had to come up here and look like a fool, while they had to do all the real work. So let's give them a round of applause, please. Let's also give a warm hand for our former Dean of Engineering, John Bandler, who was heavily involved in offering up workshops for the 3-minute thesis and coaching our wonderful competitors. So thank you very much, John. And if I could give a very warm applause for Sarah Anstedt, who was responsible for all the planning and all the logistics a few weeks before the planning and logistics of getting married. So like, holy heck. Drum roll. There we go. So first I would like to invite our award for the People's Choice to come up here. So this was voted on by everybody here. So please put your hands together for Leno Zhao. All right, so our first finalist who's going to be joining us on Thursday evening, congratulations to Yumna Irfan. So our next finalist for the final competition on Thursday, Hannah McPhee. Okay. Our next finalist. Well, I know it's like 9 o'clock. Natasha Varghese. I get all this publicity. I don't. Okay, and our final finalist who will be joining us Thursday evening. There we go. Jessica Schreck. ask the four of you, I'm going to get out of the way because I don't mean anything here. Come to the center and we'll get a few more photo ops. So let's give a warm round of applause for our 4 finalists.
So thanks everybody for this. Please come out on Thursday night. There'll be fabulous food, wonderful entertainment. You've gotten a taste of it tonight. It'll be an absolutely great event. Looking forward to seeing you there. And thank you for sharing our big ideas. Thank you.